Trust in institutions is at an all-time low. Belief in ourselves is at an all-time low. The collision of these two data points leads to apathy and despair, from which we can't contribute to change. Our guest today is CeCe the Great Watkins, a walking example of how blazing your own path can lead to fuel advocacy for others by claiming your seat at the table. CeCe the Great is a best-selling author, national speaker, and founder of Next Level Cosmetology and Barbering. She's also a trustee for Crowley ISD and a mom of a high school student. In this episode, CeCe and I talk about what it means to fight for our kids outside the classroom.
There's more than one way to be successful. I'm not like you and you're not me. And one thing that I do with Harley is I look at the natural gifts and talents that God gave her. My goal is not to make her be like me. It is to find what is in her and then make it grow.
From building career pathways that honor every kind of genius.
Trades get you paid. Plumbers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Every building needs a billing coder guy.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't think about it because these things seem dirty and gritty to you, but the pathways are amazing. And the thing about having a trade is if you decide you still want to go to college or do whatever else, you can.
To taking leadership spaces in most places assume off limits.
It's not about you knowing everything, because you can learn the policy. You can raise the money. But it's about you standing up and having a voice. And yes, it is scary, but somebody got to do it. Because our generation will be gone. I want to be the one in the history book where it says CeCe the Great did that.
CeCe's story reminds us that you don't have to be institutionalized to have impact. School boards weren't built for politicians. They were built for people. My name is EJ Carrion. Welcome to the Future Maker Podcast. Alrighty, so we got CeCe the Great, looking Fort Worth, Texas, as always.
Period.
How's just now in the new role as a school board member?
You know what? It's really good. I had my third school board meeting, and yesterday I felt like a school board trustee.
Yeah.
I actually was able to add to the conversation and make some, I mean, a little bit of impact, because we got some big things that are rolling through.
Yeah.
So I was able to make some suggestions that I think were needed.
Yeah. And so for the guests, I mean, you know, we you know me in several different ways from local level, but you know, today this podcast is all about building the future, and you know, me and you and our work hat.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just give your, you know, pitch to the audience of who you are, what you focus on, and the work you do?
So who I am is I'm CeCe the Great, but I'm an advocate. I'm learning. Or an activist also. I'm learning that about myself. And I kind of feel like I've always been this way. I was the kid that took up for the entire classroom. Mm-hmm. And in me taking up for the entire classroom, everybody else would run and act like they never said anything. But here I am again, 41-year-old woman taking up for the entire classroom. I'm ready. I'm a person that fights for what is right. I fight for equality. I fight for the people in whatever role I do, because I have so many hats that I wear. I am a best-selling author, and my book was about helping people, mainly women, overcome codependency, because we neglect ourselves in order to prove that we're worthy in taking care of everyone else.
Yep.
And then I'm a professor. I made history as the first professor of cosmetology for Tarrant County College without a degree. Mm-hmm. And so everything that I do, from my speaking to Next Level Cosmetology and Barbering Camp for Kids, it's always about excelling the next generation. Who's coming next is always in my mind. So that's kind of who I am. I'm a pusher.
Yeah. And how like, how were you as a kid? Just like when you look at you growing up and you look at people care about, you know, these young kids, and then they get into high school, like how are you? Like, were you a top kid? What was this?
I feel like I was in the middle in some areas, but I was an overachiever.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a leader.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I was always a leader, even though I was an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't chosen always to lead first. Mm-hmm. And again, like I keep saying, it feels like full circle moments. I go for these things and people go, "Oh, no, not you.
Yeah.
Not you. I didn't see you over here, but you know, let's so and so." And I go through. It's something in me. I have a friend who calls me never give up.
Yeah.
He cracks up. All he said, "Girl, you just never give up." And I think about that as a child. I never gave up.
Where do you think you got that from?
Being the first girl, being the oldest,
Yeah.
in my family. My mom was a teen mom. My dad was a teen dad. My mom, though, she's dope. She bought her first house when she was 23. So even though she had me at 14, my sister at 16, my brother at 19, she was worried about becoming a statistic further than, what she
Yeah.
already was. She's like, no, my kid's not going to be on welfare. My kid's not, and nothing against those resources, but I saw my mom do things that other people didn't think she could. And so for me, it was almost like, oh, I'm gonna carry that on. I'm gonna show you that Patrice's kids is what's up.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of still on it, like, no, you can't tell me where I'm gonna sit.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that I can't do this, because I can. I can do it better, and I have enough sense to learn to understand what it takes to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about it. I think that comes from my mom, to be honest, because there are several things that I
So
can
as
go
a
over.
as a young kid, was your
Mhm.
mom a big like, Cece, you can do anything? Was she a big advocate? Did she instill that confidence?
Yes,
Yeah.
she did.
Because I always wonder what is your advice as a mom, who's also an entrepreneur, who's also very involved, and you're also raising a young girl
Mhm.
yourself. It's like, what is your advice for other parents who are trying to instill this confidence and this ability to find your seat at the table, even if they say you can't have it?
Right. Shoot, that's a good question. So when I think about that, EJ, what keeps coming to mind is, and it's one of the platforms that I ran on. There's more than one way to be successful. I'm not like you, and you're not me. And one thing that I do with Harley is I look at the natural gifts and talents that God gave her, and I encourage her to expound on that versus saying, go be a doctor. She could be, but she's a pretty dope entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I saw when she was a little girl the things that she would do. She would take my old pillows and make them into squeegees. So then we would go to the flea market in Forest Hill, and my baby would sell out of her squeegees that
Mhm.
she made out of pillows. And I go, oh, that's an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
what can I do to help you with that?
Mhm.
My goal is not to make her be like me. It is to find what is in her and then make it grow. I get joy from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, ever since you and I connected, CC the Great. I mean, it's not just a name; it's a true thing. I mean, you
Mhm.
talk about statistics, like how many people are sitting on a school
Ugh.
board, who had a teen mom who didn't graduate college, but then feels like they had the courage and audacity to say, "No, I'm going to sit and have rights and thoughts and ideas
Mhm.
about what school should look like." And so when you think about every kids and their gifts and whatever those are, like, how can we help how can the institutions help kids connect to the purpose of why they got to do school without losing motivation, and what's the point because it doesn't connect with their soul, maybe like hair did for you when you were younger.
Right.
And like, how do you connect the importance of, you said you're in your 40s now, but I bet 21-year-old CC was like, I don't even know what the school board does or who they are, and I
No,
would
I
never,
did not.
and you were like, I would never do that.
Didn't even
And
think about it.
yeah, and now you're like, holy smokes, I see the importance of it. And so how do you feel like helping kids find their individualism,
Mhm.
but also participating in community development? Because if we don't advocate, not just for ourselves, but for others, um, people like yourself don't actually take those seats,
Right.
and they just worry about their own business, their own
Absolutely.
families, their own
Absolutely.
people. Oh, my people are okay.
Right.
But you decided, like, no, I'm going to still
Yeah.
try to be more civically involved.
Absolutely. So I believe in being transparent, because when I was a kid, I could smell fakeness. Listen, when I was a kid at 12 years old, I would go to my pastor and complain so much about every adult that he brought in to teach us for Bible study that they put me over Bible study from 12 till I went to college. Okay. And we had a big church. So it wasn't like 3 kids in there. It was all the kids and me. And I taught lessons. The adults need to go back to being transparent and understanding that they were once 12, they were once 14, they were once 11. It's important to be authentic in where you are. And in showing children authenticity, then they'll be able to relate and show that you care, or believe that you care, for lack
Yeah.
of better words. I believe that people get in seats and then they get on their high horse and they don't even mean to do it. And they get pompous and they get all, And it makes this disconnect from the children and the adult. They don't need you to be that to them. They just
Yeah.
need you to show that they care. You know, and I feel like, well, I believe what I've seen, that's what's missing.
Yeah. And I think, like, I don't know how you felt, but as a first generation
Mm.
college kid, as a first generation wealth builder,
Mm.
first generation entrepreneur, whatever, it was when you are an achiever, you feel like you have to play this game, and you're like, okay, now I went to college. Okay, now am a successful entrepreneur.
Mm.
But it's like, you feel like you're always looking for approval to a game. And so I get what you're saying in the sense of how do you make kids realize that adults actually don't really know all that much,
Right.
and they actually don't know that future as much as you. Like,
I tell them
yeah,
that,
and it's
EJ. I literally tell my kids at Cosmo Camp, at SSA.
yeah,
I tell my daughter, because one thing that shattered me was when I grew up and I saw that my mom was not this superhero on a pedestal, because I thought she was.
yeah,
And the older I got, I'm like, girl, you told me to do one thing and then you did something else. You're not standing on business.
yeah,
But I talk to my kids, and I'm not just saying Harley, but all the children that I deal with, about, again, we go back to it, authenticity. Miss Cece is rooting for you. If I tell you to do something, I'm trying my best to live in it.
yeah,
But I may make mistakes, and a child can respect that. And so again, I saw with my mom, she had her own struggles, and it kind of destroyed me a little bit.
yeah,
Actually, no shade to the women in my family. It was a lot of do as I say, not as I do. And when you said, I'm the first, that's all I heard from you. First. I live for first. I was the first of a lot of things.
yeah,
And even now to be told or looked at like, or criticized.
yeah,
It's like I broke that barrier. I did what needed to be done to get there. And so I kind of take that and I carry that with me, and I show kids respect in that same way. I think that's what's missing too.
yeah,
Is a level of respect between children and adults.
yeah,
Kids can see who really care about them, and I think that's why it's important for people, everyday people, to run for school board, because we can see, or any position, honestly, what's needed.
yeah,
And you said something too about encouraging children or people to run for positions, and to see an everyday person do it. I like to show my kids real life examples of people. So I know elected city officials. I know great people like yourself. It is important for kids to know that there are these types of people in their own backyard. It seems foreign. Like you said, when I was a kid, I didn't know what the school board did. I try to explain to kids what the school board does, because they need to know we're here for you. We're
yeah,
here for the community. I'm not here
yeah,
for myself.
yeah. Because it's the Future Maker podcast, and we talk about like the way the world's civilizing and operating. I feel like what makes you, like, what you have and what you empower kids to have, it's such a trait that's going to be more important in this like artificial world. And what I mean is, like, today a kid can go on to ChatGPT and type in what is success,
Yeah.
and it's going to give them an answer.
Yeah.
And this outside look for affirmation of what's the right thing to do. And that genuine, authentic, present voice and pulse of self seems like something you just have mastered along the way. And it just seems like going to be the thing that we need to teach kids on. It's like, how do you become an original thinker and bet on yourself? And it's like, because human connection in an artificial world is always going to be worth something.
Absolutely.
And you're going to know when you're talking to a chatbot. You're going to know when there's a robot trying to act like your friend, but you know
Right.
it's programmed to do that.
Right.
And a part of human connection is that it isn't as optimized or strategic, because we don't process our feelings and decisions like Excel documents or algorithms. And so there's something about you that, like, you come so real, but it's not calculated. But it's like your values are calculated. It's like self is calculated, but you're so calculated in who you are that then you show up very autonomous in spaces, and good things happen. And it's like, I guess, like, what is your thinks on, like, how do you prepare kids to have more agency for their life and to look at their voice so that they can kind of do what you're doing and stepping into their own greatness and saying, you know what, I can sit at any table I aspire to do so.
Yeah. So I got a couple rules for Cosmo Camp. You are not allowed to be shy at Cosmo Camp because shyness is, I think it's taught from maybe childhood trauma. And when people think of trauma, they think the most extreme thing, but it could be even just your mom or dad are very strict and they didn't allow you to have your voice. I teach them that, yeah, there are times when you can be reserved, but there are times you're going to have to stand up for yourself. And I keep saying stand on business because that's their thing now.
Yeah,
And they tiptoeing on business, okay? But a part of standing on business is using your voice. And I help activate kids to do that by number one, respecting them. Number two, actually getting to know them, listening to them, and teaching them to accept compliments even if they don't believe in them. I had a girl that I taught probably when I was like 30 years old. And she messaged me and said, Miss Cece, thank you for telling me to say thank you to compliments even when I don't believe. She said, now I believe. Now people don't have to tell me. I'm not trying to get you. I already, like I tell some of them, I already think you handsome. I already think you're pretty. I already think you smart. I already think you can sing. But if you don't believe what I'm saying, then what is it worth? So confidence can be faked, but I need for you to fake it until you feel it. But it's really not fake. It's just you teaching your mind to agree with who you are, but you just don't see it and believe it yet. So I just kind of focus in on that, getting the child to see what I already see.
Yeah, it seems like the institutions didn't help you hone all this, right?
No.
You went through high school, you tried to do college, and it seemed like college wasn't fitting. So, do you think how do we fix that? Like this whole it almost seems like a class, or it seems like it needs to be much more part of the curriculum of like this esteem development.
I agree.
Where did the institution do you wrong, and how, and then I guess how can we make sure that doesn't happen to future kids?
It sucks because the adults need more therapy. Is how we make sure it doesn't happen to the future kids.
Clock it.
The adults need to correct the other adults. I teach my kids about projection. I teach my daughter about projection. I teach the kids at SSA when I'm doing my speech about projection. If I do like this, they know that this is an old school projector screen because they fancy. We had the little, the one you write on, the transparency. So when I do like this, that's projecting. But I tell my kids that adults can project onto you.
Yeah.
I had adults who were around me who I saw one of them today. The adults are jealous of children. And most kids look at adults as the authoritarian figure and what they say goes. And I tell them sometimes adults say things and sometimes it's on accident and sometimes it's on purpose. But you have to know yourself enough to understand that it should be water off a duck's back. And just because you said it doesn't mean that I have to absorb it. I can observe it, but I don't have to absorb it. And I wish that someone had taught me that because it took me almost until I was 35 years old to let go of the things that I had absorbed, that I should have only observed. Oh, you think that because my mom had 3 kids by the time that she was 19, they were not going to be anything? Okay. But no one really teaches you that. They say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is a lie. Words hurt and words sow seeds. But I try to get kids to see, and like with realistic goals too. I can tell when I'm talking to a kid if something is going on at home that shouldn't be. So I give them like short-term goals. I said, what grade are you in? They go to 8th. I said, so how many more years so you can leave your home? And they'll count it with me. That's going to go by quick. Because remember you was in the 1st grade? Now you're in the 8th grade. You just got 5 more years that you have to live with your Nana or so-and-so. And just because they're doing this does not make you weird or gross or just that one little seed. I plant seeds and I count on God to water it. And so that's the goal. I try to teach kids that, to observe but not absorb. But to answer your question, adults need help.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of who do you think has it worse? Do you think when you talk to adults, they're more like hopeless about the future, or do you think kids are more hopeless about the future right now?
Ooh.
Because I think data, a part of why I'm asking this too is why I was so excited to talk to you today is because you're someone who thrived against statistics, but then also against institutions that tell you you're smart or tell you you can be a leader. You really navigated this world through self and through your gifts and maybe having some community members around that could support. but then also you just have this drive for the world and for your daughter and for your vision for your life. And I think I look at kids today. I saw a recent article around how the graduating class were surveyed. How hopeful are you for the future, and how much purpose do you think you have in the world?
Mm.
And it's at the highest rates of I'm not hopeful, and I don't think my life matters in the grand
Mm.
scheme of things. But then I feel like you also have the culture of adults who also feel that way, where parents are more nervous than ever that their kids won't have a better future than them. Parents are more skeptical about college because of the expense of the loan and the impact it has on their kids. And so it's like both young kids and adults are worried about, do these old institutions we all believe that helped our grandparents and our parents get to a point, do they still serve me as a mom who's trying to raise this kid? And does the kid still believe that these institutions are there for them to succeed?
This is tough. And I don't know if it goes against me being a school board trustee, but I want to say they don't serve,
Yeah.
but because they are here, this is what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell a student who is just trying to get out of school, C's and D's get degrees. I literally tell my daughter that if you need to go to college to become something, go to college and do what you need to do. But just make it through this old, outdated way of doing things, and to navigate into. That's why it's important to have younger people to run for political positions. We got people in the Supreme Court that's 998 years old, people who are sitting in positions that they were, for lack of better words, like born into, who don't care about the next generation and they only want to hold on to the old way of doing things. It doesn't seem hopeful because the people who are in charge are not thoughtful about the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it may take some busting up, which is what I come to do with a sledgehammer. And it's not that I want to destroy tradition, because some of it is important, but we have to make way for what's coming along. There was a time when we only had to get things moved by ships.
Yeah.
Now we have trains, we have planes.
Yeah.
Now stuff can be moved just through the internet. You can get your money,
Yeah.
and you don't never even touch it, and then you have it. But say how we just stayed with just one way of doing things. Somebody had to come along and move that system, and change is hard. And what's scary for me is that I am on the front line of pushing forward new change
In a system that doesn't like it,
in a
which is
system
public
that does
education.
not right.
And when you look at the macro of public education, right? We're currently living in a society where it feels like um, federal administrations or even states in some states are trying to not fund public schools, or the positivity that average people had about public schools are now such in the dumps. Like the way we talk about teachers, the way we talk about schools, um, is poor. But then I also would love to know, like, what do you think from a micro level of how do we change the narrative on actually innovating and thinking through, as like a school board member who's looking at agenda items and thinking about, how do I think from a lens of changing this system for the better? So like when you look at public education, what's some of your, I guess, things you're deciding on, how do we get out of this current state of how society looks at our public education system?
It's tough because yesterday at our meeting, we just were talking about bringing back the 10 Commandments into the classroom,
Mm.
prayer and Bible time in the classroom, taking away cell phones
Mm.
from the classroom. My emails are going to be really full within the next week or so about all of these things. And I think it's important because that is the job of the school board, is to partner with the community. We are to see the community and the people first. And we have all types of religious beliefs in our community. And to say that this is the only way of doing things says that we only care about one group of people. And one day we were talking and you said this to me and I held on to it, that school is the first place that you learn we over me. I say it all the time because it rings true. I get to go to school with rich people, middle class people, extremely poor people. I get to go to school with Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, or people who just love everything. But it helps me to see the world differently. And if we start to take away from that, then the kids lose a sense of community, which is what the world needs right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm just overwhelmed with like right versus left. We My job is supposed to be nonpartisan, but we have one wing of people who want everyone to do what they say. And that's not what the American principles are supposed to. I'll do this. Supposed to be built on. But
Yeah.
when we go back and read,
Yeah.
it pretty much is. So navigating through that, EJ, is crazy because I literally have to take it 1 second at a time.
Yeah. And what in your mind was how did that discussion go? Did it go in a way that you were actually impressed of your school board, or because I know there were mandates from
Yeah.
the state. So
Right.
it's like, are y'all were y'all like, I guess we just have to do this, or was this like, did y'all like, where do you say you're probably still in the entry discussions of
So
it?
it's the very beginning. Literally yesterday we just talked about it. They just sent out a survey. I'm glad we did that because we want to talk to the parents
Yeah.
in the community and see what they feel or what they think. And I've had a couple people come up to me at the event that I just was like, I don't like that. And I was like, make sure to fill out the survey. There are a couple school boards who are actually suing for church separation from church and state.
Yeah.
I think that that's important.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but you're born to do tough things.
Yeah, and that's like I want to also, me and phones. I also want to get your opinion on that phone ban. But before we go there, yeah, it feels like when we talk about being first, no one taught us the game of how this was supposed to be played, and so we played it our own way. But then you are learning, holy smokes, there's people who want people to play a game a certain way. And it's now you feel in a way like your responsibility is to challenge that way. And it goes back to you in the classroom where you were doing all the things for the kids, like you said at the beginning. Like I was the one protecting the whole class. And it feels like now in leadership positions, we're given that responsibility as well, where it's like mama and daddy told you, hey, listen to the authority, listening to people in charge. But now you're realizing the right thing could possibly be do actually to stand up to who's in charge. And now that
I've done a lot.
Yeah, and then now like is true leadership these days is deciding what to do with two bad options.
It's actually bringing me to tears. I'm sorry. I'm serious because I've done that a lot. Like I'm trying not to go through stories and name names, but it is a tough spot to be in because you stick your neck out there. And you have to do it almost without worrying about if the army is going to be with you. Everybody that has the problem, they wait for you to go up there and you take all the bullets. What is it? 100 men versus one gorilla? It's us against the gorilla. And man, it's tough. It is. There's still some trauma there for me because I feel like I'm repeating my own history. Yeah. It's like, okay, just give me strength, God, because I always think about Esther, though. Have you ever read the story of Esther?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there's a lady named Esther in the Bible. She was really cute and fly, and she's a Hebrew. And, the king killed his first wife because she embarrassed him in front of, like, these other people. He wanted her to dance and be, like, all this and that, and she was just like, no. And so he got rid of her and he killed her. And so God made it to where, he had this like bachelorette, like casting for women. And so Esther got through, right? Because her uncle, who's in Hebrew, told her what to do. He like, this oil, bathe in this, look like that. So she became the queen.
Yeah.
And so they started killing her people, the Hebrews. And her uncle was like, hey, girl, it's time for you to stand up. You didn't just get in here just to be the queen. God got you in here so you can stand up for your folks, because Haman and Mordecai, like these are real people, or in biblical people. They finna cut y'all up, all the Hebrews. And he said, if you don't do it, As for you and your house, y'all all gonna die. But God is still going to raise somebody up. I have always
Man,
thought,
yeah.
I'm Esther.
Yeah.
But I be raising up. And that's what it takes. It's not about you knowing everything, because you can learn the policies.
Yeah.
You can raise the money. But it's about you standing up and having a voice. And yes, it is scary, but somebody got to do it, because our generation will be gone. But I want to be the one in the history book where it says CC the Great did that. I like Deborah said about the man that she quoted. I don't know who it was about. He waited pretty much till it was too late to say something.
Yeah.
You know, he said, I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Jew. I didn't say anything because I wasn't this, because I was, now it's on me. There's no one left. It ain't going to be on me. I already said something.
Yeah. And that's where, for those who don't know about the local stuff we're talking about, Deborah Peoples is a city council member here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Sorry.
Which is also a great example of like what you're talking about. And the Future Maker podcast is for a lot of leaders who are exactly where, this pod is for people like you who are doing that. So what advice do you have for other people who are trying to be Esther?
Ooh, I like the way you said that. So the advice that I have for other people who are trying to be Esther is, if not you, then who? Because that's what an uncle said. And remove all the excuses, because you never know how. I didn't know how to write a book. I just wrote it and it went #1 in 4 hours and 30 minutes. And I wrote it just the way that I talk. And it was an ebook. My husband says that I jump off the porch. Kendrick Lamar says sometimes you just got to pop out and show them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to pop out and show yourself.
Yeah.
That even though you don't see the next step, if God put it in you to do it, he has it already planned out. Now that sounds cute and simple, but it just works that way even with the universe. I said I wanted to be a national speaker. Then I met a guy named EJ, carry on, who saw further into my talent and was like, hey, I would love for you to come and speak for my company. And it aligns with what's already in me. Everything that I ever said in my heart. And I mean, that's why I be like, oh, Lord, I'm scared to say some stuff. Because every time I say it, it happens. I just talk. Do you know Dr. Charlotte Horton? Ooh, EJ, you would love Dr. Charlotte Horton. I'm going to introduce y'all.
Oh, wait, I do know Dr. Charlotte Horton. Yes, you do. See, yes, I do.
Brilliant mind.
Yeah. She's great.
I just saw a while ago.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, she's great.
And yes, so she did this class on like racial inequity and where you had to do tally marks if you had ever been discriminated against. And I was at the end of the line. So at the beginning of the line was all white men. You had to line yourself up. If you had no tally marks, had never experienced any type of discrimination, you're good. But my friend, I call him DC the Great, white guy, 6'6", blue eyes. This man at the front of the line, he had never experienced any type of discrimination. All white men, then white women, then Indian men, then Indian women, then Hispanic men, then Hispanic women, then black men, and then me at the end of all the black women. It was blatant in my face. I didn't realize. And so once Charlotte finished with the class and just destroying all of us, because everybody's feeling bad for me because I'm sobbing and crying. Like, I didn't know like that I was discriminated that badly against. To make a long story short, she charged us with something. She's like, okay, I see this is your title. You work for Texas Wesleyan and you do this at Texas Wesleyan. So instead of just skimming over the applications, you be serious about looking through and being like intentional. And she gave all of us a charge. And she told somebody else, you could run for school board. And I said to her, I'm going to run for school board. I said it to her. And then we were done. I got up to her again. I said, I'm going to run for school board in 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I said it again to an elected city official.
Yeah.
And then she told somebody else and they said, your time is now.
Yeah.
I say, do it afraid. That is what courage is. Do you
believe you were the last one at the end of the line? Also because you're such a strong-willed, outspoken woman?
Yeah.
And what's your advice? Or because one of my disappointments, and when we look at the political world today, right, we had a black woman run for office, hyper qualified, hyper everything. We still have not had a female president. And I don't know how we feel about feminism and empowerment right now, but I feel like locally, right? You and I locally, we're seeing. You mentioned Deborah Peoples, a strong Black woman who's standing up for people. We talked about Commissioner Lisa Simmons, who's our county commissioner, who's standing up for people. It feels like people are. It feels like we're actually in this moment where actually Black women again are going to save us from stuff.
Even though we're supposed to be resting right now.
I know, right? So what's your advice, I guess, to women in this time where, it feels like oppression doesn't want women in charge, or especially women who's strong-willed and extroverted?
It is scary, but you got to stand up.
Yeah.
I'm scared speaking on this podcast. I'm serious because I'm like, okay, when it airs, like it was cool for me to say a CC Great the speaker, blah blah. Now you're an elected city official.
Yeah.
You ain't finna come through here and make waves for these kids.
Yeah.
And be strong and be whatever.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
My name is Shakina.
Yeah.
First of all, you can tell I'm a Black woman on paper.
Yeah.
It was Shakina Williams before I got married. And it's not, we don't have time for no, I can't say it like I want to say it. We don't got time for no.
Now you're a trustee.
Yeah, still, that wasn't stopping me. I was like, oh, we can't cuss on this podcast. It was not because I was a trustee. I promise you that. We don't have time for you being scared.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you're scared to be on the front line, there are other ways that you can show support.
Yeah.
You can donate money.
Yeah.
You can help strategize.
Yeah.
You can pass out waters.
Yeah.
You can be an advocate, but we need women because I think about my daughter.
Yeah.
I think about my granddaughter and my grandkids, kids. I was talking to my granny yesterday. She has seen 5 generations of, of kids, right? She just 76, so, my family just be early with stuff, okay? But I was talking to Harley literally about that this morning, and I was telling her, girl, like, you got stuff to do. But I'm one of them people where I don't respect hearers and not doers. Don't make no Facebook posts telling other people what to do if you ain't got out there and did it. My biggest thing that I tell other women and I tell myself, never give another woman advice that you can't take.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell no other woman to leave her husband if you ain't gonna leave yours if he did the same thing. That's just a quick example of what I'm talking about. Don't tell me how to fight my fight and you ain't even out here fighting.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
And get on the back line and pass out water.
Yeah.
And we ain't mad at you for that because we need water.
Yeah.
But we need women who are brave enough to say, I don't want to see my daughters go through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fighting for all the daughters that I'll never even get to meet.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. That's not enough to make you move. Then what is? It's time out for being scary.
Yeah.
Oh, don't come around me if you scary.
Yeah. Well, we have agreed and understood on this pod that Black women carry a brunt of our history as people and does a lot of the heroic things and has to go through much more hoops and oppression. So like for anyone who's educating Black girls or parents to Black children, what is your advice to help them still be inspired or still be called to tackle this fight, even though the cards and chips are so stacked against you to just submit?
I think you have to teach them history and then show them where they fit in history repeating itself and bring them along for the fight. I don't always think that experience is the best teacher, but learning from someone else's experience can be the best teacher. So, like, we're in this heavy climate of all these things going on. It is important to expose your children where you would want to shield them. Because shielding them makes them think that these things don't exist, that they're not happening. And it is okay for you not to know the answer. But it's also important for you to help show them how to navigate through that. And how we do that is letting them know that they're safe here with me. It is okay for you to express your opinion and your values, but also teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't just... I was kind of child that stood up for myself, but my mom and dad had to give me guidelines. So that when they came to defend me, they could defend me without having to reprimand me, right? And so there is something said about having soft skills, learning what they are, and learning how to use them. I can still be a powerful woman. I can still say what I need to say without obliterating everything that I work hard for, even at 3.
Mm.
Teach them that it is okay to speak up for themselves. Don't just shoo them off because you
Yeah.
don't understand or know what's going on. Give them that space to take up space.
Yeah. All right. So I want to actually bring up, because a lot of what you're talking about is like freedom, let them play, don't hide them from things. But we're also living in a time where technology is moving really fast.
Mhm.
People are afraid of all this change. And protectionism has always been a part of being a good parent. But like, right, over parenting and under parenting is like the seesaw. And I mean, at first you kind of see it in churches, right? You know, hey, kids get like, hey, we're going to put you in a church. We're going to create an environment. We're going to give you order of like what is a purity test of a good person.
Mhm.
And as the older you get, you're like, whoa, a lot of y'all ain't even following this stuff.
Right.
And then you also now got this phone thing, which brings me back with one of the things I want to get your opinion on is like, now we're like, adults are so afraid of this phone and the data on what phones do to kids. And so like, there's this like, how do we avoid that situation? So it's like, we're living in this world where not even the adults know what it is. And the gut reaction is to protect our kids from it. And I understand our kids need some protection.
Right.
So like, what is some of your thoughts or perspective or advice to schools, to parents around phone bans and, you know, the device? And how do you do that? Because you have, how old is Harley?
About to be 15 in August.
15.
Yes.
Yeah, and she has her own phone.
She does, and I
Yeah.
Apple Watch.
Yeah. So tell me
Yeah.
how do y'all navigate devices?
You know what? I just trust Harley.
Mm.
I'm not a helicopter mom. I thought I was gonna be. I did, and then she just grew up, and I'm one of them kind of people like, girl, if I ask you to do something, do it, and you're innocent until proven guilty. I trust you completely until you show me otherwise, because I feel like my mom was too strict.
Mm.
Right. And so it's like, no, I got to allow her to be a human being and to allow her to have natural consequences. So if
Yeah.
I tell you that you're supposed to be off the phone by 10, I'm not going to go get your phone, which there are devices that I'll get into that'll help do that. But I trust you to get off the phone by 10.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, eventually I'll find out, and then there'll be a natural consequence for it. But I've learned, I keep saying it, trust and respect. Even with the phone ban, let me thinking about it. Even yesterday, I was like, oh my God, it's tough. My daughter, them at Crowley 9th grade, they had a pilot program where they would lock their phone up in a locked box this year.
Mm.
And they would get their phone back in between every passing period. So when you first go into class, you put your class in the lockbox, the phones go behind the teacher's desk, and then you get them back. Actually, Harley did really good.
Yeah.
I talked to her about it again yesterday because I was just wanted to know how she felt. She hated my idea that I proposed in school. And I was like, well, they have apps where you can shut down your kids' phones at certain times. Maybe we ought to look into getting that for the school district. I don't know how much money it would cost, but we could shut it down in between passing periods or from this time to this time.
And this is the idea Harley didn't like.
She hated it. She said, I'd rather just have my phone locked up and get it during passing periods.
Yeah.
And so my thing was we could still program it to where the people, your parents or guardians, they can get through. Like when you have your phone on Do Not Disturb, you have your favorites.
Yeah.
Your wife can get through, right?
Yeah.
The same thing. If Harley's my daughter, and she is, and we have the phone shut down or on Do Not Disturb for school through the school app, then what'll happen is if I need to get to her, if there's an important phone call, her phone is going to ring and you know that that's her parent or guardian because it's been stored that way. Yeah. Now, these are just ideas and thoughts because they have to be implemented by September 1st. Mm. So it's navigating it because I think that phones in classrooms are important. Mm. The next thing I asked the school board was, well, one of the trustees said, well, is there cameras in every room? In classroom? And the answer was no. Yeah. And then another one brought up the fact that it's expensive. And I said, I really don't care how expensive it is. If my daughter doesn't have a phone, then I need to be able to trust the things that I cannot see. We're not monitoring it live, but if something was to happen, it would give me peace as a parent to go back to surveil, whatever did happen. So I was saying, like, I know we can't do it right away, but maybe like in 2050, by
Yeah.
2050, we plan to have every school in Crowley ISD.
2050 is far away.
It is. I'm just making up a number, EJ, to try to give them time to raise money. I don't know, because you got to pay some bill. You got all these hoops to run through when it's time to do right.
Yeah, something you said that how you trust Harley with her phone.
I do.
And there's a lot of data around, kids don't know how to interact with each other, because if you look at today's kids, they're least likely to drink, they're least likely to do drugs, they're least likely to have sex while in high school. And a lot of that's like because they're just stuck in their phone in their rooms and they're not actually civilizing, interacting. So like there's a lot of people in this data world talking about like they should be getting in trouble more, but it's because they're so either helicopter parent or digital savvy kids, and they just play video games or just stay in their rooms on their phones. They're not having these errors. But like in my mind, I think that's because maybe this generation just knows what's right or wrong compared to our generations.
Both.
Yeah. Our generation, we needed those things, where maybe this generation, like, it's just different.
They are definitely different. And I love how different they are. And I'm blaming the parents too.
Yeah.
Because my daughter does use her phone a lot. I'm not going to act like I'm that kind of parent. We got TVs in every room. Yeah. We have everything.
Yeah.
We have TikTok catch-ups at night.
Yeah.
My husband, my daughter, we show our funniest videos. But the thing about it is we also have her involved in things because she's an only child. So I was afraid of her not having friendships and sisterhood. So I put her in things like swans. I put her in, she's on the cheer team. She's a part of, built the team, like recruited for the Black History Bowl for Crowley, and they won. They made history. They never won.
Wow.
Harley's a part of a lot of things I can't think of.
Yeah.
Because I believe in building community.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have balance.
Yeah.
If you're a parent who likes for your kids to use a phone, they should, to me, be equally involved in whatever it is. They have video game clubs at school, so he or she can go play video games with other kids and. Or even build the technology for the video games to learn another way to navigate that. That's another reason why I ran, is to cause parents to become more involved. Like, I'm irritated with the adults.
Yeah.
Everything goes back on the adults.
Yeah, and parent engagement is so low.
It is, because everybody on their phone.
Yeah.
It's not just the kids.
And you're right.
Yeah, what do we say about the excuse for my generation? My neck hurt because I be on my phone so much.
Yeah, and I think if we're gonna take it out of kids, I think why not
everybody.
Teachers? Yep, everybody.
Nobody.
Put your phone up.
Put your phone in the lockbox. We're programming for your husband and for whomever else. I get it though, because the kids are not.
But many of the teachers would be like, nah. See,
absolutely.
So it's like,
and
this goes back to it goes back to modeling, right? It's like, if we're going to tell kids to do something that we aren't willing to do, this goes back to your advice. It's
exactly.
Like, if we're going to give advice that we don't want to live our own lives, then why would we put that on kids?
Child, and I stand on that. I believe that that's important, but Harley hated my idea. I still was like, I'm like, you still got your phone in your hand. One of the trustees brought up,
like calculator. You can still use whatever.
Oh, what, ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So that's what they're all abusing and using.
How is that? How's that in the discussions? Is that stuff y'all are talking about on school board
Not yet. So if they have, I haven't been a part of it because I've only had my third school board meeting. But I'm for it and against it.
Yeah.
Because it is a tool.
Yeah.
Even if you use ChatGPT, you still need to tell it how to think like you.
Yeah.
You still should add in your own thought process. And I think that it's kind of taking away critical thinking because you're not talking through the process.
Yeah.
When I talk to ChatGPT, she's helping me, because I call mine a she. She's helping me work through an idea.
Yeah.
I ain't just tell her, hey, Chat, help me open up an ice cream store.
Yeah.
No, if I was to do it, it's like, hey, Chat, I want to open up an ice cream store that's in Stop 6 in Fort Worth, but I want it to be known for different sprinkles and candies that go on top of it. But I want it to be mixed with a splash of hood and, and a little bit of rap. Like, I tell Chat where to go with my thought, and she just make it better.
Yeah, I see what I use ChatGPT for a lot of times is, I don't have enough time to think about this idea, and if I give it enough for that, I did chat to GPT through your intro. I was like, hey, here's her bio. Here's the intro from the last episode. Here are the points I want to talk with Cece about. Can you make an intro? But like, I had to do that today because, Rodney reminded me. It's like, hey, I like how you did the intro last time. I was like, oh snap, you're right, we did do an intro, but now I'm on the clock because I got 8 other things to do. So it's like,
Yeah.
yes, is
But you're using it
yeah,
as a tool.
yeah, and it saves time.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's the thing that I fear for certain students. It's like you're so busy using this that you won't know in a minute how to
Live
use
without it.
critical thinking.
Yeah.
Because that was the first thing that some of the kids, when I told them, like, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. It's like, no more chat, GPT. And I'm like, well, I mean, hey, when you go home, you can use it. But I do think it's healthy to some sense to get them back to
Yeah.
thinking. I saw that they were bringing cursive handwriting back. And I forget which school it was or what city and state, but I was excited about that.
Yeah.
Because to me, that helps with critical thinking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the things. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Well, I wanna close asking you a couple bits about entrepreneurship. I think a lot of people who are either in education or in the nonprofit space or politicians, eventually think about entrepreneurship. You've always been an entrepreneur. What's your advice to people who want to do it, and where would you guide them?
It seems like this has been the same advice for everything. Jump off the porch. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like the best entrepreneurs fail a lot, but I
Yeah.
don't call it failing. Or maybe we'll say fail forward.
Yeah.
Like when I look back over the things that I thought, and it wasn't even because I did a bad job. It's just because
Yeah.
I wasn't playing the game that they wanted me to
Yeah.
play. Because there's definitely a game, and you better learn the game. I don't care how hard you work, how beautiful it is, how many rooms you think you should be in, and how wonderful it is. There are several different roadmaps that you need. It's who you know and who knows you, not just who you know. I think we've said it before. We know Beyonce, but Beyonce does not know us. But just imagine if Beyonce knew me and she knew about Next Level Cosmetology.
Yeah.
Can't forget. And she's giving away this money for Sacred and all these things. It is about being in rooms. You need to join your chambers. You need to network because that is important. You need to protect your ideas, and you just need to do it. Because once you get started, you'll it's like the universe, it's like God, you attract those things that you need. It's inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the full circle in the episode is just, and I think why you and I have collided is because, like, collided as a force is we're both activators. We don't ask for permission. We both written a book. We both started businesses. We both got into community organizing. And that is the trait that comes back from the thing we've been talking about, and that is confidence, understanding who you are, understanding your gifts. And it seems like at the end of the day, regardless of your test score, what school you
Right.
go to, what we need to teach kids is to act on their intuition and the things that are feeding their soul.
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, don't let anyone take from you what you believe. They're only speaking from their point of view. I was supposed to start Glamour on the Go. It was going to be the geek squad of beauty salons when I went to cosmetology school. And there was no one doing it. Now everyone is. But I told my cosmetology instructor, I'm going to start this business called Glamour on the Go. We're going to be the geek squad of beauty. Didn't exist. She said, well, how is TDLR going to track you? You can't do that. And I was like, oh. I never let anyone ever again in my life tell me I'd be mad at Miss Jinx to this day. Miss Jinx is dead and gone. I know it because she was like 69 then,
Yeah.
70. But do it anyways. Ask for forgiveness rather than permission on most things.
Yeah.
And then once you know, like, oh, okay, I need to fix it, or I need to go get this certification. Yeah, do what you need to do, but go after it. And don't let people discourage you based off what they can see.
Yeah. You brought up another good point that I feel like we should talk about 2 to 5 minutes, but around pathways. I think a lot of you, I remember when we first met, you were just like, I was really excited to just like cross the cosmetology world, and then you got to trade education and you were like, this is the education I'm getting for this. This is what we get. And it seems like alternative pathway education can be a lot better. And it seems like your entrepreneurial spirit is that you see that. And so you started with cosmetology, and then you started with barbering. What is the opportunity for trade and alternative post-secondary pathways outside of college?
Trades get you paid. I always say that trades get you paid, man.
Yeah.
Plumbers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Every building needs a billion coder guy.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't think about, because these things seem dirty and gritty to you,
Yeah.
but the pathways are amazing. And the thing about having a trade is, if you decide you still want to go to college or do whatever
Yeah.
else, you can. I went to school for cosmetology, and I've done all of these great things with less debt, because I did go to college and I dropped out, but
Yeah.
trades have always been the way.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with being a blue collar worker, and I think that people have taken that away. Like it's
Yeah.
gross, or it's to be frowned upon or looked down on. No, I'm a plumber, and I'm
Yeah.
Aaron the plumber. Like everybody who knows Aaron the plumber, those
Yeah.
who know.
Yeah.
And absolutely, he needs that.
Yeah.
Okay, he absolutely has to, and this is for the people who know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. This man makes money doing what he does. You make great money doing what you do. Y'all Google EJ. And I make great money doing what I do, but we didn't do it for the money. What I believe is most entrepreneurs lead with passion first. It's like, oh, I feel this.
Yeah.
Because if you get in it for the money, you're going to be disappointed. Because
Yeah.
that comes later.
Yeah.
Unless you were born into a family who
Yeah.
can just, or some kind of way who can furnish that.
Yeah.
But it's passion.
Yeah.
So
And I think you've been a great example of building programs for alternative, I guess, education for cosmetology that's fresh and hip, that's not outdated. It still feels like it's 1998
yeah,
curriculum.
because they still on
Yeah,
1998
because
curriculum.
a lot of that trade program energy is just like, oh, let's just get the certificate for these kids and
Yeah,
get
and
out.
then what?
And then the
And
kids,
that is one of the
you
reasons
kill
why
their
I ran.
passion.
Yeah, because then what? You got all these kids graduating with certifications. They don't know how to use them. They don't have any mentorship. They
No
don't
business
have.
acumen,
Yeah, they
social
running
media
their
acumen,
head,
marketing
running their
acumen.
money.
Yeah.
Like they have no real hope, but they have the certification.
Yeah, my wife's a dentist, and she,
Oh,
and zero business class. She didn't take a single business class.
that should
Yeah,
be
I
required.
know, right? And I think that's, because I think everyone needs to understand how to participate in capitalism, because capitalism is a part of all of our lives,
Yeah.
even if we choose to be a teacher or a nurse.
The one thing that I saw that Greg Abbott did, and I did like this for him, is that he actually passed a bill where there has to be financial literacy taught. I need to do more research on the bill, but I saw that and I was like, well, thank you. And not just 2 weeks or whatever. They need to be in the first grade learning about financial literacy all the way up
Yeah.
until college. It should be required.
Yeah.
And so I was happy about that
Yeah,
one
that's
little
cool.
thing. Like
Yeah.
he did that one little thing. But
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you doing for big things here in Fort Worth, but then also in the country and even international, because I know you're in Kuwait as well. So
Thank you.
I love that. And thank you for coming on to the Future Maker podcast.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.